What's good, world? It's your boy Twiz, and welcome to a special edition of 5 Minutes of Twisdom. I have the guru herself here in the building, Miss Kate Strain. What's going on? How you doing?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's pouring rain here, so yeah, we're getting our deluge for the summer. We need it down here, and I hope those people out in California, where you are, Twiz, are getting some rain soon too.
Well, you know how the song goes, the Southern Rain in California, you gotta love it. So I was happy to get you on the show today because, you've been very instrumental in helping me get my trademark Twiz all the way official. And I just wanted to share with everybody the importance of trademarking your name when it comes to just taking your music career seriously and taking your business seriously. So before we get started into that, can you talk about what is a trademark and why you should get it?
Sure. So a trademark is, in your world, the trademark typically is the name of the artist. And a trademark is the any indicator of the source of the goods or services. So, for example, we think about Nike. We've got the word Nike, we've got the swoosh logo, and we've got just do it. And so all of those things indicate, okay, this product or this service came from Nike. So in your world, in the music world, it's typically the name of your band or your name or your artist's name. So a lot of people don't go by their real names, but their stage name is what is the indicator of source. And so the scary thing that, out there in your world that is the lesson for everybody is Prince. I'm 50, so Prince was my, generation. That was what I looked to.
The legend.
Growing up, oh my goodness, we're still crying purple tears for him. And so I got to see him in concert in Atlanta at the Omni. Well, it's not the Omni. It was, what was it called? Anyway, I got to go see him in middle school. It was the greatest eye-opening experience in the whole world. But when he had to go to the artist formerly known as Prince, that was absolutely ridiculous. And it highlighted, he was, because he was Prince, he could go up against these guys, but most people just, go off into the shadows and lose their name. But your name, imagine if Nike couldn't use its name to indicate those were Nikes, they would lose, their brand is just worth, trillions of dollars. And your name is worth a ton of money. And just imagine if you get this huge following. Most of you probably have, some kind of following, but you're not Prince yet. But when you get to the Prince level, and all of a sudden you can't go and use your name, and not even to mention the fact you can't use your songs. That's huge. And the way that happened to Prince was, he was just this amazing guy we saw from, the movie Purple Rain and, doing amazing music, but he was in Minneapolis doing small gigs. And what they do is they come along, they're like, hey, he doesn't have any money. If somebody offered me $700,000, I think it's something about that. Of course, in today's money, it would probably be more like 7 million. And if somebody offers you that and says, just sign this paper, everything's great. We'll get you a purple limo. We'll get you whatever you want. And you will take care of everything. You don't have to worry about all that stuff anymore. You just show up and sing. It's tempting, but be careful, because that's when you need to, you need to have an attorney sitting there and making sure you're not signing away your rights, because that's what most of the record labels used to do. Hopefully they've changed a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure with the emergence of how independent artists are now being able to have control more of this stuff, they have to switch the game up and how they approach people. Because, I've spoken with A&Rs before, and it's crazy. Like, they want you to basically have all the groundwork already ready before they even do business with you. Like, you have to have so many followers, so many record sales. It's crazy. And it almost makes you wonder, like, why would I do business with a major label if I've already reached a certain plateau on my own? So it questions it. But we all know how record labels can take you from where you at to the whole nother level.
I would imagine they had to at least allow that, or they didn't want to go and go test the legal waters of that. And they're like, okay, well, if he's going to be the symbol formerly known as, Prince, maybe we'll be okay with that. Because he couldn't use his name. And I mean, there's probably things where he couldn't use his name on the label, on the actual album, or, so I'm sure that, and maybe he didn't even say the formerly known as Prince. That was how the news people had to refer to him. And that's fair use. He was formerly known as Prince. So
yeah, makes sense. That's crazy.
You imagine, it's just insane that he lost those rights.
Right. So now we get to some juicy stuff. So if you're an artist or just anybody who's just getting started and you feel like, you know what, I want to take this a little bit more serious, how do you go about trademarking your name?
Well, I'm going to always say use an attorney. And so, I know you have a video that's, much more practical that people should go watch. I'm not endorsing that video, or, you did not talk to me before you did that video. So I have nothing to do with it. And you were great doing the disclaimer that you're not a lawyer and you're just providing practical advice to people. And so, but I'm going to recommend you get a lawyer, and for a multitude of reasons. It's, as we say, Prince's name became worth, I don't know, trillions of dollars, maybe. I think somebody put a price tag on something recently for tax purposes for either Michael Jackson or Prince. I think it might have been Prince. And they devalued it a little bit. They thought it was trillions, but it really, for the IRS purposes, was not. But anyway, your brand can become huge. I mean, that's how you get people to come to, watch you at the Georgia Dome, and or is it not the Dome anymore? It's the Mercedes-Benz. That's how you get people to these big venues. Your name. And so, your name is worth a ton. And, so you think about, you get into a venue and, like that. And, I don't know how much you would get, $1 million. I don't know, at least I would think. And so to think about, a trademark attorney, I mean, my flat fee for, a business walking the door is $2,000. I will, for startups and artists and things, I will give a discount, $1,600. And that's all in. I do everything for you. You don't have to think about it unless there's an issue. And I tell you there's going to be an issue, and you can think about changing your name at that stage. And so, think about just $1,600 versus, just doing it yourself and not really knowing what you're doing. And it's a headache. I mean, you did it yourself. I mean, it's a headache. And there's all kinds of decisions you have to make that could adversely affect you. And so I had a client one time come to me, and he had filed 4 trademark applications, and essentially they were all worthless. And so once he talked to me, and so the filing fees are $250 times 4. Once he talked to me, he realized he needed to file a different one. So if he had just come to me initially, he wouldn't have filed 4 different ones. So, I mean, and the thing about it is, if you file it yourself and you get in a pickle, attorneys aren't always willing to help you at that stage. And so, it's good to go ahead and establish a relationship with one. And then it's good, we were talking, earlier, it's good just to have a relationship with an attorney. Because, I can't necessarily, I don't do entertainment contracts, but I've got somebody in Atlanta that I can recommend that, I do the trademarks for them. They do the contract part. And, and there's actually a guy in Savannah here too, that does some of that. And so, I can recommend, an attorney that suits your needs. And, just throughout your life, you need to have, different, attorneys helping you with your will and different things. And so I recommend, just befriending an attorney, just like you did, Twiz.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I did get myself in a pickle when I try to do it myself. And as an independent artist, you try to find ways to, I don't want to say cut corners, but you're just trying to find ways to be cost efficient when you're doing certain things. And then certain things, you kind of need to put that investment because, like you said, protecting your name is very important, and you don't want to end up in a situation where that could come back to bite you in the butt because you didn't do things properly. And one thing I will say, being that I did do a lot of that myself, is sometimes like that verbiage is very, very different. It's almost like reading a whole nother language. And when you have somebody who specializes in reading that language, you should definitely utilize that and, definitely have an attorney in your circle. The next question I want to ask you. So I know sometimes like with independent artists just getting their stuff together and still wanting to make those kind of investments in themselves, they're scared of some of the numbers that attorneys give them as far as prices to help them get that done. So is there ever a situation where they may do like payment plans? Is there ever a situation to where they can help be budget friendly with somebody? How does that work? Or if that even is a thing?
Yeah, I mean, so I do the discounts for the, for startups and for people that aren't, already successful. So and I'm happy to do that, but I don't do payment plans. I've found that they are excruciatingly painful. So mostly what my clients do, they're okay, I got to raise 1,600. So they'll go and spend a couple months raising that 1,600 or a couple to 6 months, I don't know. And then they come back and we put the retainer down and we do it. So one thing I will caution you, like if you're getting into a situation with contracts with an attorney, get an estimate. They will give you, ballpark. They've done these contracts before. They'll know. So, when a client calls me and doesn't ask for an estimate, I think, oh, okay, well, they're not worried about money. So, initially up front with an attorney, just say, this is a big investment for me. This is a big expense comparatively in my budget this year. And, can you give me a ballpark figure? And typically they should. And if they don't, that's a red flag. That maybe you don't want to be with somebody that's just going to, charge you whenever they feel like it. Because attorneys, we do hourly. So, attorneys in big cities can be, if someone my experience, my age, is probably $600 to $700 an hour in Atlanta. But I'm only $275 an hour because I'm in a smaller market, Savannah. So, so attorneys that are in smaller markets, but that do have the expertise are, preferable. So, let's just say that you are in, New York City, you live in New York City, then, maybe looking, and you typically want somebody in your state, but, trademark attorneys can do the trademark part all over the world. I mean, all over the US, well, all over the world too. I hire other attorneys in other countries. But so I could do it for you, but then that part of it. But if you need an attorney to do entertainment law or something like that, where you're looking at a contract, you do want someone that is licensed in your state. So say you're in New York City, you might want to look in Albany or, some other city that's not, the price of New York City. Because New York City, I can't imagine what
they charge. To put it in perspective, they charge like certain places charge $5 for a gallon of milk. That just lets you know right there. Okay, that's a gallon of milk. All right, that's more than gas in your car. That just tell you something.
Yeah, a father of four or five.
Yes, I have 5.
5. He'll know about how much a gallon of milk costs.
Oh, listen, we're gonna buy a cow at that point. The cow gonna be in the back somewhere, and we can milk it or something.
So, your building needs to invest in a cow and some chickens. I recommend, just looking around for attorneys and you want to get somebody that's been recommended typically by another person that's been there and experienced them, because not every attorney just like not every artist is, same level. So we all got a law degree, but there's people in law school that I would be scared to recommend to other people.
So how does that work? Like, as far as like, let's look from your point of view, because I know a lot of times we always looking from our point of view, the artist or the client. From your point of view, all right, how do you know when clients are good, or the people like you refer to? How do you know they're good referrals? How does that work?
Yeah, so that helps, so for example, if another attorney calls me and recommends somebody that so if you've already done a will with somebody, or you've had some other legal issue. I mean, even, if you've, defended a DUI or something, you have this criminal defense attorney. We all know each other. So, if you've paid your attorney in the previous one, then that one's going to call me and recommend, oh, this guy's great, pays his bills on time, you want this client. And so so we can, vet people that way. And it's just easier to trust people if we know that they've worked with another attorney. And then vice versa, people, when an attorney recommends me, that person's like, oh, well, this attorney's sent them multiple clients and they've been happy. So, I can trust that she's going to handle this client well. So that's it. We have a total network going on there. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So what would you say to the person that says, hey, I would take my chances with LegalZoom than to come straight to you? What you
might as well listen to your video to do LegalZoom. I mean, your video is probably better. So they just charge to, I don't even know what they do, but I think you just fill out the form and they file it for you. And you can go do that yourself at uspto.gov. So yeah, I don't recommend LegalZoom at all.
I could tell by the seriousness of your face. You're just like, nah, don't do it. I tried that one time to, when I first started to get my business going, I filed one of my businesses. I filed an LLC through them. Worst ever.
Yeah, I mean,
worst ever.
Most states, I don't know. I mean, Georgia, I have clients in California that they go file their own LLC.
Yeah.
So they, it's. I mean, in Georgia, it's $100. You go to the Secretary of State, you set up a electronic account, and you go fill out that form, and it's not intimidating, and you just have, one of the main things, you have to have an address in that state to do it, and then you're done. And the great thing about an LLC, well, the other thing you want to do with an LLC is talk to your accountant and find out, do you want to be an S Corp or not? And then you go to the IRS.gov and you get, I don't know if you've done this yet, Twiz, but you get your EIN number, and then you can elect to be an S Corp. And an S Corp, I'm an S Corp, my law practice, and it just passes through to you individually. Everybody's different, but I think S Corp's pretty good. So it helps you with your taxes. And be an LLC. An LLC, the other reason to do it is, we don't have many personal assets probably, but we don't want our car getting taken because something happened with our business. So if you get sued for, copyright infringement, you don't want somebody to come along and be able to take your car, your house, your motorcycle, whatever, that they can come collect on that if you don't have an LLC. So, and if you want to be able to walk away from your business and not have to worry about your personal assets being taken and your family's assets. So.
Right. Absolutely. It's all, at the end of the day, it's all about protecting yourself and protecting your brand. Like, you want to make sure your business is straight. So speaking, you said like infringement stuff. So what happens when, say, for instance, you got your name, trademark and everything, and then there's a situation where there may be infringement on your trademark name? How does that go? How do you handle that?
Yeah, so I recommend everybody put their name on, go ahead right now, put your name on Google Alerts. It's free. And you can do it where it comes to your email weekly or monthly, and you get, so my name is Kate Strain. And so, when Kate and was the guy, the William, the Prince, or whatever, and they have a strain on their marriage, I will get their articles. So there's also a Kate Strain in Ireland that is a curator, an art curator, and so I get that information. But then I get stuff when it comes out about me, and so that it's just nice to see that for me. But for you as an artist, that's your brand. So you want to know if anybody else is out there, talking about you, but also, for purposes of trademark, you want to see that someone else might be using your name as another musical artist or something similar, confusingly similar. So that the test of trademark infringement is, are people confused as to the source of the goods or services? Do people believe that, if there was a guy that came along that was called Twizzle, and do they believe that Twizzle and Twiz are somehow connected with each other? And so, if that's happening, and there's lots of actual confusion, would be someone contacting you and say, hey, Twizzle, I saw you at Madison Square Garden or, whatever last week. And you're like, that wasn't me, So that's confusion. And a lot of times you don't know about confusion. And so, for example, you can have people that will start listening to this other musician thinking that you're somehow connected, or buying brand stuff of his. It's not yours. And so, that's the Google Alerts is the best way. For my clients, I have them do Google Alerts, but we can also do, an outside service that does it. And then we monitor the trademark registry for them, because as a trademark owner, you are required to police your own mark. That's why you want a Google alert, and you want to make sure that, and so what you would do in that situation is send a cease and desist letter. You could do that, and I would recommend an attorney. You could also, there's lots of ways online to complain and report people abuse complaints. And so depending on the website, and I'm not sure about Apple Music, how they handle things like that, or other places where you are selling your music. I've not had to handle that before, but typically if you go to the terms and conditions of the, I think it's the terms and conditions, or the terms and conditions on the website, and then you go and see what it says about trademark infringement policy and complaints.
Yeah, most sites I know on the music side, like sites like DistroKid or something like your distributor, if you let them know that there's other artists or something that's your name, and they'll do an internal investigation on making sure that everything is fine before you go to the next level of having to get an attorney, because that can get kind of ugly and costly, and for distributors that's not good business as well, because now it's like, all right, we allowed this to happen. So, but yeah, most companies have a internal system of order how they do that. So that's awesome. That's great. That's great to know. That's great to know.
And of course, you always have the Dmca, which is the Digital Millennial Copyright Act, where you can, if someone is stealing your song, you can go. They have a complaint mechanism through the terms and conditions. So there's trademark and copyright. Sometimes they can combine them, but they have a takedown, so that you write them, they take it down, and then the other person can write back and say, no, that was my music, and then they'll put it back up, and then you have to sue the person. But typically if somebody's doing something wrong and you ask to take down, they're not going to write back after 10 days. They're going to be like, oh, okay, I'm staying away from this.
Makes sense.
So, I got caught here, but I'll move on.
That's awesome. So Kate, tell everybody where they can find you. How can they contact you? How can they reach out to you?
Yes. So it's thestrainlawfirm.com, and strain is like a strain of beautiful music, not a strain on your wallet. That's what I tell them.
I love that. That's awesome.
So STRAIN lawfirm.com. And I'm in Savannah, but I can help you. I can't help you typically with your contracts if you're not in Georgia, but I can help you with your federal trademark and your copyright registrations. I do recommend Also, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, Twiz, but copyright.gov, you can set up an account, Echo, and do it yourself. I recommend my clients do that a lot if they don't have the money to pay me. And so do the LLC yourself, do the copyright yourself, but get an attorney for your trademark. I promise it's well worth it. It's your most important.
Second that to the most highest form. Trust me. You got sometimes, guys, as an independent, trust me, I know what y'all going through. Sometimes you try to do everything yourself, but at some point in time, you got to be like, you know what? I need to invest in this specific area because I need this to be official. I need this to be straight without any other thing. So definitely build your team up of people who can help influence your stuff. And Kate has been instrumental to me in helping me get mine certified. So thank you so much, Kate. Thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure always to see you.